We go, fellas. We shoot.
Live from New York.
It's Saturday Night Live.
Except it's Sunday.
This
Hey.
fight is sponsored by Metro PCS.
Did you guys see the Broncos found a new quarterback?
Now in the blue corner. What's that?
Says Broncos found a new quarterback.
Who did?
Yeah, he completed one pass for 13 yards today.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, it was good. Right. I played the Saints defense, so I was good with that.
Yeah, hey, but my
I bet.
I preached all weekend. Minimum price, 9 points. I told you guys it doesn't matter with defense. Sure. You can take a min defense and it works out for you. So that's what we do. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of Def Hobby Central, where we bring you all sorts of different guests. We bring you up-to-the-date advice, news, and whatever else we like to talk about. First, I want to start with the introductions. We got a great lineup here tonight of guests live on the show. I'm going to start to the man to my right, maybe your left. Quados, how you doing tonight, brother?
Doing well. How's everybody out there?
Good. Where can we find you? On Twitter or whatnot. What's your at?
Oh, Quados Corner. Quados Corner, YouTube, Quados Corner, Twitter.
All right. Right on,
I don't
brother.
have Facebook and all that other stuff. It's too much. I have everything I can handle to keep up with those.
That's enough, man.
Right.
I honestly, personally feel like Twitter's the best place to be anyway, especially for the hobby. Gate City, Paul, what's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
What's up? Thanks for having me on tonight. I do got Twitter. You can find me at Gate City Picker as well as on Instagram. I've got 2 YouTube channels. I have the Gate City Picker, which is kind of the kind of reselling business I have. But if you want to find my sports card content, I'm on Gate City Sports Cards, which is where most of my sports cards, videos and content you're going to find.
Right on. Well, it's good to have you aboard, Paul. Appreciate you coming on tonight. Rob, over at RSR Cards, how we doing tonight, brother?
Yo, what's up? RSR Cards and Collectibles. We're at Cards RSR. RSRcardsandcollectibles.com is our website.
And then also YouTube would be RSR Cards and Collectibles as well.
There you go.
Dent and fam over there. Least but not last, not least, Dent, Alpha Fam. What's going on, Dent?
What's going on, guys? We are Alpha Fam Breaks. This is Alpha Fam Brett, Alpha Fam Andrew. Actually switched it around. You can find us at alphafambreakers.com. That's our website. You can find us on our YouTube, which is Alpha Fam Breaks. We are at Twitter at Alpha Fam Breakers. We are also on Instagram at Alpha Fam Breakers as well.
Awesome, man. Hey, it's great to have each and every one of you on board tonight. I think we got a really solid lineup. I think we got some really good questions / topics to discuss tonight. So we got through the introductions. First of all, I just want to make sure you guys all had a great Thanksgiving, right? Everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Everybody had a hot meal. Everybody was with friends and family. I hope
absolutely
single individual out there, people watching this now, watch this later. Even if you're my worst enemy, I hope you had one of the greatest Thanksgivings. So
we don't have any of those.
I did. Thank you.
I love you guys. I love you guys. You keep the fire in the belly, right? So I want to start off the first thing I kind of want to hear, and I want to hear from each and every one of you guys, is why are you in the hobby? I mean, at the end of the day, why are you into this hobby? What drives you to it? You know, what brought you back? Because I think every single one of us, except for maybe the Alpha boys, minus Dent, probably were in the hobby at some point, took a break, started family life, started chasing girls, started doing whatever we were doing, and we kind of got disinterested for a while, and then brought us back. So what is it that brings us back to the hobby? Actually, Dent, I'm going to start with you guys over at Alpha Fam Breaks. And this is more a question more directed directly to you, because the boys, I mean, they could answer too, I guess, as why it's brought them initially or driven them to the hobby. But I'd like to hear what you guys have to say on this.
Well, for me, for instance, what made me stop in the hobby was the 90s junk wax era. they were just too much, way too much, and it was just so hard to keep in contact with all the different products that were coming out. I actually just got back into the hobby back in 2016 when products actually started jumping off the charts a little bit. We would actually go down to a antique mall. There'd be a guy there with a little stand, and we just rip packs, and Andrew would pull autographs left and right. And I'm like, wow. So we started collecting autographs. And I was like, this is so cool, because when in the 90s, you didn't rip packs for autographs or mem. It was rookie cards, you know what I mean? Inserts, you know, that's what you're looking for. And this was like a whole new realm for me. And I was like, wow, we can grab autographs. So every weekend we would go down and then rip packs. And then we got Brett involved. You know, it actually kind of spiraled into an every weekend thing. We were going to buy boxes, and we were just ripping packs. And then I found some YouTube outlets. The first YouTube outlet that I actually came across was Packer Cards 87.
Oh, wow.
He actually turned me on to the breaking realm of, you know, all the other breakers out there, like Layton, BITG Breaks, Wolf Card Breaks, like all those breakers. And it just started to be like, you know, like an adrenaline rush. You know, you pay for a break and see what you get. And it just spiraled out of control, like where me and the boys were on vacation and it's late at night and we're watching a breaker, like, come on, let's, you know, so that pulled us in. It sucked us back in. And then when I seen that they had autographed full-size helmets, like, I'm a big fan. I have 8 or 9 that I'm looking at right now. That's my main thing. Like, I love full-size helmets, authentic replicas. It doesn't matter. So that's what kind of brought me back into the day when back in 2016, when me and Andrew would just go down and just rip packs right at the table. You know, the guy would hook us up with supplies and everything. He's like, here, I'll sleeve this for you. You know, he would tell us what the cards were. We weren't selling the cards. We were just stashing them away in boxes, and we couldn't wait till we went back down the next weekend and rip more packs.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. Do the boys have anything they want to add, or what brought them? Was it more you that kind of brought them in, their love for sports? Do either one of them or both of them want to answer?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much just ripping up packs as a kid all the time. It was a bunch of fun. Chasing those autos. It's pretty much what got me into it. It's just going down every weekend, getting something new, and ripping it open. It's just
cool.
It's what attracted me to it.
Yeah. What attracted me was like just listening to him on his phone, just like watching these breakers, and I was like, "What are you watching?" And he showed me.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's like really sick. And that's what got me started to watch breakers, and then to get into like cards and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome, guys. I love it. Great answers. No answer is wrong. Obviously, this is what's driven each and every one of you. RSR, I'm going to turn over to Rob. RSR Cards. What brought you back to the hobby, my man?
Actually, what brought me back, it was 2018, and I've been struggling with a lot of nightmares for my job, PTSD type stuff, and so I was up a lot at night. Just started YouTubing it and came across Jabs and what he was doing with not so much the cards, but he was shagging batting practice. Not that was kind of fun to see what he was doing with that, you know. And then he got into the cards, and I used to collect when I was younger, but then I hit, you know, the puberty age, and that wasn't cool anymore. So, yeah, I probably took 30-year hiatus from collecting cards. But thing about I like the most is now is just the, you know, I was in the fire service 22 years, and it's the camaraderie that I miss from the firehouse, you know. That I get with you guys. So I think a lot of it's just not so much that we lose our butts on buying cards and you know, we're never gonna make that what we put into it, but the fact that we make new friends, you know, and have people that have our backs and stuff. So that's what brought me back the most, is the camaraderie.
Awesome. Love it. And I'm glad you're here tonight with us, Rob. Gate City, Paul. What brought you back in, or what kept you in? I guess I don't even know if you ever took a.
Oh no, I did. I mean, my introduction into sports cards it's kind of a twofold. I played Little League Baseball for the longest time, and I played with Charlie Huff's son. And I had no idea who Charlie Huff was. He was a journeyman pitcher. And one day, you know, my brother's into comics, and my mom took us to the comic shop, and right next door was a card store, and there's a picture of my friend's dad on a little, like, at the time I thought it was a business card. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. And so that's kind of how I got into it. So I actually have a ton, and I've got to find them, but I have a ton of Charlie Huff. I think there was a card with Charlie Huff on it. I have his autograph on it somewhere. Wow. Not worth much, but it's just something cool to have. So, and then kind of the same thing, you know, I collected, and then it just kind of, I fell out of love with it. I fell out of love with sports. I stopped playing sports, didn't really play sports much, you know, when I got into junior high and high school, and it just wasn't something that was what I wanted it to do anymore. And I don't know if you call it life on life's terms. It just became, you know, more difficult. You know, to collect cards. I moved from Southern California to out here to North Carolina, where I live now. And there was one card shop, and it was all the way on the other side of town, and it was really hard to get to. And the guy just had weird hours, and so it just kind of fell out of love with the sport. I packed everything up, put it in storage, and it sat for the longest time. And with you know, and then every once in a while, you know, you go to a retailer or something like that, and there'd be a box of cards. I think one day there was I can't remember what it was, but somebody was talking about autos. What kind of piqued my interest probably 10, 15 years ago. I want to say it was like 2003, Don Russ. I opened it. I bought a box of something. I don't remember what it was, but there was a Ty Cobb relic in it. And I thought, well, that was really cool. I'd never seen a relic before. You know, I didn't know anything about jersey patches and all that stuff because I just stopped collecting cards, weren't paying attention to it. But still, it just wasn't, I mean, it just wasn't on the forefront. Other things, you know, becoming a grown up, getting into it, being an adult, all that good stuff. And then here recently, within the last couple of years, I started a, you know, kind of a resale business where I would not anything to do with cards at the time. I mean, I had some cards, and I would sell them, you know, on eBays and things like that. But it was other things, you know, like more collectible things that weren't necessarily sports cards, or just, you know, other things. There's all kinds of YouTube. There's a whole community dedicated to reselling, and, you know, it's its own niche and things like that. But I got into that, and then, you know, I found a box of cards of my own and brought it home, you know, from my storage, started to go through it. And I got in with a couple other reseller guys that I know. And I think I saw Anthony, who's known as Pittsburgh, excuse me. We're, you know, super good friends, and another guy, Every Day I'm Hustling Nate. And
I'm hustling.
I paused for you because I knew you were going to do that. But, you know, we got, you know, we would do some shows together, and then we would just, you know, after our shows, we would talk, you know, I would go through some box of cards and say, hey, you know, and then we just started talking sports. And the other thing that got me back into sports is I caught this one day, I caught a YouTuber. He goes by Dodger Films, and he used to have, I don't know if he still does or not, but he has, he used to have, season tickets in the outfield, and he used to put clips of the Dodger games on his YouTube until Major League Baseball found him and, you know, gave him a cease and desist. You know, but the cool thing was it was like guerrilla footage, and I was like, well, that's really cool. You know, it was like just wasn't like, you know, overproduced type of things, and so I kind of got back into baseball and at least paying attention to the Dodgers and things like that. And so, you know, I would, you know, I started to go through my old cards, looking at it. And of course, the stuff I collected then wasn't very valuable now because, like you said, it was junk wax, you know, mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s type stuff. And then I just started just kind of getting into it. I found Def your YouTube somehow. I think it came up one day, and I popped in an auction, and I spent a bunch of money. Well, you know,
you did your job and put me up as a recommendation for once, and I got my guy Paul, which I'm glad.
Yeah, something like that. And then just from that, it kind of snowballed. I found RSR. I think you plugged him. I mean, Guns, other people like that. You know, I did a couple breaks with Gypsy and Smash, so it was, you know, I've just kind of been rolling ever since. And I created, like, I do have 2 YouTube channels. One, I do my reseller content, and that's all that's for. And then, you know, the hobby. And now I do sell cards, but my main thing is I sell cards to buy the cards I want for my personal collection.
Right.
It's not necessarily a flip thing. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool to pull something and know that it's going to be worth some money and flip it. But but mainly, it ain't for me to make money. I buy cards from the cards that I sell. So that's kind of how I kind of got back into it. It has kind of overtaken. I have a desk here with cards now just stacked up everywhere when it didn't before. So, I mean, I could pan around, but I've just got cards everywhere. I got a couple boxes there. I got some stuff stacked up there. There's more
like
stacked up there.
Desk to me.
So, but, you know, and I've just been loving it. And its cool thing is that, you know, is being able to kind of share the hobby with, you know, with some folks. Yep. Yeah. So just kind of share the, you know, because, you know, I do live, it's not really rural, but it's not highly populated in the town I'm in. So come on YouTube here, you watch, you know, sports cards content for a couple hours, and I switch back over to other stuff. You know, and it's just, you know, a lot of fun to kind of share that camaraderie that Rob was talking about. You know, it's like, hey, I hit this cool card, and seeing everybody get, like, you know, excited about when somebody else hits a cool card, you know, and not the jealousy. And I really like that. It's like, God, man, why can't I hit a card like that? Well, you know what? One day you will, and everybody else will be happy for you.
Consistency. That's one thing I tell people. I'm gonna interrupt off of that. I'm gonna segue off that just for a second. Then we're gonna get back to Quados on this question. But the consistency thing. If you are going to get into breaks, or you're going to open boxes or rip packs on your own or whatever, you have to stick with it, because most people are not going to hit a big hit or a life-changing hit. You might not even hit a life-changing hit ever. Obviously, that's like winning a lottery. But even getting a big card, or like any kind of one-on-one, even if it's not a big name, you know, like a lot of people say, I never pulled a one-on-one, or I've never pulled this. You have to stick with it. You have to stay consistent with it, because, I mean, if you guys were to see personally how many breaks I get into a week, I get into a ton of them, and I get a lot of crap from a few individuals in a few channels that I'm really good with and good with the community, just because they think I always hit certain teams, and they're not even here yet, and they don't even have the greatest big name hits unless it's like one product out of the 5 boxes we're ripping. And I never hit when I have those teams anyway. But I do get that the hits do come around. You know, I've gotten a to 10 Mike Trout auto from Tribute. I've gotten a super short print Luis Robert from Topps, which I turned around and sold. That stuff comes to you, but you got to understand that a lot of people that hit big cards, they're usually in it, and they do it consistently. So they're constantly in breaks, and they're in a lot of breaks. You know, whether you get into 1 break a week or 10 breaks, stick with whatever you're doing, or whoever you like to break with. Or if nothing's ever changed for you, or your luck has never gone, switch to somebody else, right? Try Alpha Fan Breaks if you haven't. Try RSR Cards if they're trying to fill a break. Try, you know, BITG Classic Pack Breaks, Buck City Breaks. There's a ton to go through. But Gate City, before I take it over to Quados, I'm going to get on a podcast with you and Pittsburgh and them sometime talking resale, because that is something that's a big interest of mine. That is something I started to dive into like a year and a half ago. I bought a bunch of stuff at sales, had yard sale crap, apps and everything, would go different places, pick up stuff. I still have a ton of stuff sitting in a corner. I just have a hard time going through to relist it because I'm busy with everything else. Right. But definitely a big interest of mine. Definitely something I'd like to be. I told Pittsburgh before, I'd love to be on a podcast with you guys.
Yeah, he's got his own podcast, and he's always looking for folks. Yeah. So I'll hit him up. I'll hit him up here. Matter of fact, here in just a second.
For sure. All right, cool. Quados, what brought you back into the hobby, brother? What drove you back here?
Well, I got invited back for the second time this week, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, love having you, man.
I'm back in the circle.
Yes, sir.
You know, like I said the other day, it was I had my shoulder surgery, and I was sitting around doing nothing, and that's how it started. 2018 update came out.
Yeah.
And started buying them, and I really didn't have a clue what was going on. You know, I'm a vintage guy, and I just seen everybody else, same thing, found jabs. And hey, what the hell is this guy doing? He's ripping cards on YouTube. That's kind of cool. Next thing you know, you got a YouTube channel.
Right.
And then, you know, I met some guys, you know, met Coach K and met Wicked and RSR and met Crosby. He's in the stream here. And then Crosby turned me on to Guns and Eloy. And, you know, and then it just all started. Once you get in with a group of people, it just starts to spread out from there. And now, I mean, now it's actually hard to keep track of everybody. There's so many people between YouTube and Twitter.
Right.
But I just started pulling everything. You know, it took me, I don't know how many months to get into one of Jab's breaks. And I just started buying stuff because that's what everybody was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quickly realized what I like to do, and I like the vintage. So for me, the new stuff does nothing. I actually buy the new stuff still just to get a few of the hot rookies, stash them away, and everything else I just trade away or I give away or whatever. It does nothing for me.
Right.
And again, you know, like Gate said, I kind of flip them, if you will, to get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And lately, it's been great because the market is so crazy for this new stuff. It blows my mind. Yes. On what people are buying and what they're paying for boxes and stuff. And, you know, I was just digging this one out here the other day that I showed on Twitter that I just got. I mean, this is
it's insane.
A T206 Chief Bender.
Wow.
And it's, you know, this is another thing that don't buy the grade, buy the card. I mean, this card is awesome. I don't know how it got a 1.5. But this card was cheaper than a normal priced hobby box.
Right.
So for me, it's a no-brainer. That's what I do. And I had actually gotten that from doing some little sales on Twitter, $5 here, $6 here, $10 there. And then all of a sudden that popped up and I'm like, good Lord, I got to have that thing.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting it. I threw the guy an offer and there's, you know, I'm not going to run around and buy $100 or $200 or $300 cards.
Right.
Got my PayPal set up for my stuff. I stay out of my own personal accounts, and whatever I'm doing with the baseball card stuff is I'll reinvest that money, get what I want. I'm working on the 48 set, and I haven't paid any money out of my own pocket for any of those cards yet. And I want to keep it that way. You can't start spending all your money and
no.
You know, we do have bills to pay. We are adults.
Right.
Some of us.
And that's what I've been saying too, Quados. Like Quados and Paul, I think both hit it on the head. You know, for people out there that continue to just use all their own hard-earned money and continue to buy into breaks and buy singles and buy cards, and you're not reselling anything, whether you're doing auctions, listing them on eBay or whatever it might be, you need to. You're going to get burnt out. It's going to become not fun. You need to be recouping the cards you're selling. I mean, you probably have boxes. Sometimes guys have boxes of stuff that's even top-loaded. That's like stuff they don't PC. It gets put in a closet. Mm-hmm. They forget about it, and they're like, they continue digging into their paycheck, and they're like, man, I only got $100 left this week for my paycheck because I've been getting in all these breaks. You probably got thousands, hundreds of dollars that if you're reselling the stuff that would add up as you go through those boxes and sell it. Make sure you're recouping that stuff. And go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul. Well, I was to say, you know, most of us, besides the two boys there, we all kind of look in our, you know, I'll say plus 35, 40 range. So in the 80s, when we got into the cards and all that, what outlets did we have to sell cards other than a card show?
Right.
Not very many, but now, I mean, we've got YouTube, Twitters, Instagrams, eBays. I mean, there's all kinds of different outlets to be able to sell things that we don't like and also buy things that we do like. Right. But back then, I think that was one. I was just here thinking. I was like, I think that was one of the other reasons why I got out of it is I had all this stuff that I was lugging around became a burden to collect cards. Now it's not so much a burden because I got a trade. You know, I got what is this? A John Morant. It's in my sell pile hill. I don't want this card, so I'm going to sell it rather than I don't have to look at this card like I have to lug it around for the next, 30 years.
Right. Exactly. No, good points. Good points. Rob and Alpha, they've been a little too quiet. It's been pretty busy at the top of the top of the line here. So I'm going to start this next question. I'm going to start with Rob, RSR, Cards and Collectibles. What would be a few of your top do's and a few of your top don'ts to give you advice to anybody out there in the hobby, whether they're current or they're coming back or new?
First off, Paul, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only 21 years old, so I don't know what you're talking about. These
21
old guys.
squared.
Hey, you got the square thing right, but do's and don'ts. Well, you know, like our dads always taught us, you know, treat everybody like you want to be treated, and you know, do's are just take care of other people and don't expect things to be handed to you. You know, it took a long time to get into this community for me. You know, I was trying to get to know people, so I, you know, get to know people and send out cards just to say, you know, hey, I just want to get to know you guys and be part of the group. So dues would be just, you know, kind of have an open mind when you go into this card community and be willing to, you know, take care of other people more than you get taken care of. Don'ts, the big don't is just don't screw people over and don't lie to people. You know, don't get mixed up in rumors. Don't get, you know, Deafness, Quados, and I went through a phase there where, you know, we had to figure everything out and everything cool now. But, you know, just don't get caught up in the nonsense, like the little cliquish stuff like you did in high school. And just, you know, just do things the right way. And so the big don't for me is just don't expect too much. Yeah, Susan just said that. Don't expect too much, and don't expect people to want to just hand you everything. You just need to, you know, just like everything in life, you got to work for everything. And yeah, but the big do is just be involved. And you know, like Deafness says, just stick with it. Whatever you're doing, whether you're buying cards or you're getting in breaks, you know, stick with it, and you'll get that big hit. And I was one of the ones that told Deafness, hey, man, you got a lot of good luck, because I saw him, you know, hit some stuff in breaks. And he goes, you have no idea how many breaks I get in, Rob. And he says, why don't you try getting in some, and then you won't complain to me, you know. And sure enough, I got in a couple breaks, and I hit a Jerry Judy auto out on one of Eloy, the Goats, one of his breaks, and that's probably my best personal hit, you know. So yeah, you know, it's just like life. It's just with cards, and it's just cardboard. So I forget who said that way long time ago. It's just cardboard. And it's not about the cardboard. It's about the relationships.
What are you saying? And I think this can tie in with a couple things, like with you saying, you know, it's just cardboard, with Gate and Quados saying, you know, reselling stuff to use the money to go towards the thing. Keynote on that I would just add on before I get over to Alpha Fam, Dent over there and the boys, is one big don't that I would say, if I could throw a don't in there. The do would be treat people as you want to be treated, like RSR pretty much touched on. That's like the number one, the main thing. It's all about the people, man. If you can be a people person, if you can be respectful, you'll be respected. I mean, that at the end of the day, you know, treat people how you want to be treated. The big don't is don't overprice your stuff you're selling. Price it properly. I say this all the time. I stress on this all the time. If you go and check comps, if you're one of those people that go and look and check comps, and you're going to try to sell it on Twitter or wherever else, and you list that card for exactly what comps are on eBay, chances are someone's probably just going to buy it on eBay, right? And how many times are you going to take to post and repost a card if it's not selling, or redo it? Like with me, you'll see me do it on Twitter because it takes 2 seconds. I'll start it at a price below comps. 3 hours later, if it doesn't sell, I'll drop it. If it's a $100, $90 card, I'll drop it $10, $15. I don't really care. I'll keep dropping until it sells. Just get rid of it. Sell the cards. They're not. Somebody else said this the other day. Your cards are worth nothing, right? Sitting in a box. They're worth nothing. Now, if it's a PC card, you could say the value or the worth is a little different because it's sentimental to you. But the cards you don't care about, cards
Yeah.
that no one ever, they hold zero value. So just think about that, guys, when you're pricing cards to sell, when
Right.
you're pricing to move. I said this to our good guy Brian SRV Jr. He was trying to move a trout, like some crazy trout card, and he had tried pricing it right at comp prices. He dropped it like $50 below comps, and this was hundreds of dollars a card, and he sold it like that same night after we had said that. He went back and reevaluated how he was pricing it. So your chances of moving things faster, getting money back to recoup, to put back into breaks can move faster. So just think about that. So Rob, I appreciate the answers. I think those were great do's and great don'ts
Yep.
from a man himself there. Alpha Fam, Dent, the boys, what are your top do's in the hobby for people, and what are your top don'ts?
Well, real quick, I just want to comment on what you said about cards in a box that are worthless. I don't know. I wouldn't mind having some of Quados' cards in a box because he is old school. You know what I mean? That stuff is. I like vintage myself. Trust me, I have some vintage, not like he does, but I'm sure he's got stuff stashed in a box that is high-end stuff. You know, so
it's still gonna have a lot. Yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah. Well, one of the biggest dues, first of all, is come break with Alpha Fan Breakers. Obviously, that's the first one. The second one is do have respect. A lot of the times I noticed this when I first came on to Twitter back in 2017 is when actually I came onto Twitter with the whole hobby realm. I was on there before, but it had nothing to do with the hobby. I've seen a lot of people just posting cards, and I tried posting cards and stuff, and people would just straight bash me like, what are you doing? That card's not even worth that. Get out of here. You don't even belong here. Like, and I think to myself, like, okay, well, I'm new, and explain the whole deal, and come down. And they're like, well, that card's not worth it like that. If you don't know what you're talking about, you don't belong here. And I thought to myself, well, first of all, that's not right. So I look at it like this. So I spun that around into straight positivity. I killed him with kindness. I was like, oh, thanks. You know what I mean? No problem. Haven't seen the people that when I first started back on the Twitter in the hobby, in years, which whatever, but just have respect. Like that's one of the biggest things in the hobby. If you don't like something that someone says, or, you don't like what they're posting, don't comment on it. Just don't comment on it, because then that's where the problems come about. And that's where the clicks come about. One person attacks and another person attacks. And like, you have like this gang of people. And it's like, do you realize we're on the internet? Like, don't be a tough guy, like an internet tough guy. You know what I mean? Because, the day's over with. This is cards we're talking about. It's like you're fighting with your hands. Like, come on, stop it. I mean, like, we're adults, but yeah, we're kids when we're spending the money, but we're adults when it comes to our feelings, right? Because that's when we get all hot and bothered. So that was one of the first things. So just have respect. Like, that's the biggest thing that I have. That's pretty much about it. The do nots, like you guys touched on it before, do not dip into your wallet, your personal wallet. I've seen so many people buy cards, and it's still going on to this day, buy cards, and then they post them and like, oh, look what I got in this break. 2 days later, they're turning around and they got to sell it because they got to pay a water bill. They have no food money. Right. They got to pay car insurance. Their pipes broke. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, what's going on here? If you're in the hobby, be in the hobby, to make sure you have the money. Don't put it out there for self-recognition. Don't try to boost yourself like, okay, you hit a Kyler Murray 101. What, can your kids eat tomorrow?
Right.
I see that happen so often. And it's just like, just be true to yourself. That's all you got to do. Just be true to yourself, go over to Quados' house, get some vintage, whatever you guys can do, so, right. But, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I see, and the negativity stuff's got to stop. It actually has calmed down. There's a lot of people I've seen in the hobby get totally screwed over. There was this one instance where we actually went down and did a whole background check. I had people get involved, and we found out, all this guy's info and stuff. And here we found out he was scamming for months. And I'm not talking about like, $500. I'm talking about $5,000, $10,000 worth of stuff. The guy actually was prosecuted, but then people started like attacking him and like going after family members and stuff. And it's like, whoa, guys, leave it alone. Leave it at the door. Let everything else take care of itself. So That's one of the biggest things that I say do not do. Do not attack. Do not jump on the bandwagon. If you're attacking somebody, I'm not gonna like, oh hey, you know what, leave them alone. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Fight your own battles type deal. We're not in high school. We're not a gang. It's cards. It's cards. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
So
before we get to Quados and Gate, Paul, I just Troy, I got 2 comments I want to touch on from the audience here. Been listening, not in it as an investment, never have been, whether they mean nothing to me or not. One day 2 men will hopefully sit around with this old man and reminisce. And he's talking about his grandson and his son, which again, yeah, I think that's awesome. Not everybody wants to move everything. And I think there's twofold to kind of what we're touching on. I think most of us in this stream right here as guests, the people that are talking, Gate isn't even, I don't think, looking at it as an investment. He may be more on his actual product reselling, not card reselling, because he even mentioned himself, he sells cards to put back in to buy what he wants or to get into more breaks for himself. And I think that's what most of us do. If I was in it on an investment standpoint, clear investment standpoint, I wouldn't be telling you guys to price your cards accordingly and sell them to move them. I'd be telling you to price your card as close to comp and try to push it and make it look the appearance the greatest so you can sell it as close to the penny as you can for what comps are, or maybe even a little bit better if your card looks a little better, you got a little bit better patch, but it's numbered, it's serial numbered still to the same amount, like 49. One's a 3-color, one's a 2-color patch. So I agree, Troy, and I think that's a good point. He's going to have all his cards to pull out and reminisce with his grandson and his son. And I think all of us, in one way or another, will, right? Because whether it's our PC stuff or whether we don't sell anything extra, our advice or what we're touching on today is more just try to resell some stuff that you don't really care to have, because that helps not hit the pocketbook so bad, right? Your own hard-earned money. Try to regenerate from there. And then one more before we get to Quados and Paul on the do's and don'ts. The card hobbyist, we gotta bring it up because we gotta bring it back is what's gotta happen. I am part of the Airtime Trivia clique. Well, used to be ... Did I get enough dots? Bring it back, Jeff. Airtime, when is Sunday morning trivia coming back? Because we need it back. Sundays are be jam-packed if we get that trivia morning time in there as well before football and then before this show in the evening. So we'd love to see it come back. We'd love to see it happen. Quados, to you, my friend, Justin, what top do's and don'ts do you have for the people?
You got to get along with people. Just like Rob said, I mean, everything's been covered. It's I took a break for a while. I was absolutely ready to come unglued. And it's, after I sat back and thought about it, I'm like, God, this is dumb. Right. This is really stupid.
Right.
Right. And I was doing that same thing with the auctions. When I had my auctions, it was just purely to buy stuff back or give back. And, I've been doing it a lot lately because of the card prices and the way things have been crazy.
Yeah.
I've been on Twitter trading like I think I'm up over 30,000 cards, maybe 40,000 cards in the last 2 months running, 2.5 months. And my collection's been growing like a son of a gun. And I've met this group of people that, and some of them have come straight out and said, I can't afford that. And I'm like, no, don't worry. I got you. We'll figure something out. And if I have a banger card or something that's worth, $50, it doesn't mean you got to give me $50. I'll give you that one and you can send me 35 of something I need. And that's how I do everything. So I try to keep it going, keep it moving, keep the cards flowing through the community. So you got to be cool. I always tell people, you can't fall in love with your stuff, especially if you want to get rid of it.
Right.
I just did a trade with a 55 Bowman mantle, And you wouldn't believe the messages I got in the DM. They said, "Are you insane? Have you lost your mind? You could have sold that for $300." I said, "I know. But this other dude that's been helping me with my 55 Bowman set, and he's building his 55 Bowman set, I emailed him right away and I go, 'Hey man, I got a banger for you. We need to figure something out because this is a big one.' And he was like, 'Oh my God, what can we do?' So we ended up swapping about 200 cards and a little bit of cash, manageable amount of cash. It was only like 50 or 60 bucks.
Yeah.
And this guy's got this sweet card in his that he may, obviously we can all go out and afford to. There's probably not one of us sitting here that couldn't go out if we wanted to and buy a $5,000 card tomorrow. But that's the stupidest thing you'd ever do.
Right.
So it's just try to help each other out. Try to get your groups, I don't like to say the cliques, but I have my little group that I do a ton of trading with, and the sets are growing like a son of a gun, and it's fun and it's great. And really, we're not spending a dime. Everything's just getting traded out and swapped.
Yeah.
And that's because of the prices being so high that you can't buy anything. You can afford it, but for me, I just saw the first packs of cards on the shelf the other day in 7 months since Bowman came out.
Right.
And it was Topps Update. And I'm like, I'm not interested in it no more. So I don't care. I got this other thing going and it's a lot more fun. And there's a big group of us and we're all helping each other out.
Right.
I could still grab them and get them to you, but everybody's the same thinking that I am. They're like, we're not interested no more. You've gotten beat down so bad looking at everything selling for hundreds and hundreds of dollars that are worth $20. So it's, the dues are just like everybody else says, be cool.
Yeah.
Don't screw people. Don't get into your little tiffs and your little pissing matches. And, if somebody's busting on you, I either block them or skip them, or, I'll make one little comment and I get blocked. So I don't know. It's kind of funny because I made a little comment like, dude, what are you doing? You don't attack somebody's kid. And all of a sudden I'm the one blocked, and all of a sudden I'm the one that's the asshole. And then all these other guys would jump in there and like, no, you stay away from them. I don't even have to fight my own battle. Everybody else is helping me and they're on it. But you got to be cool. You can't rip people off. You can't fall in love with your stuff. If you're going to move it. Don't price it at $100 when you could price it at $75. In all reality, these things are worth 50 cents.
I think it's almost, like you said, to block too. I think it's almost better to just take that approach. And even if people or whoever these people are, because in most cases, if you find that if somebody blocks you, in most cases, it's probably not going to be somebody that's associated with any of the people you typically talk to, hang out with, are in streams with, etc. And it's probably just better off to just do it and let them make their comment or say whatever they're going to say. You're already blocked. You're not going to see anyway. And let them be like, oh, this person's so soft. People are so soft. Making comments like that. Who cares? Because it starts to make you look like a bad person, even though you're just trying to defend yourself, or you're saying, you start taking shots back at people. Now your people that you hang with, that you whatever, that associate with whatever, are seeing you and they're like, whoa, I'm seeing this different side of this guy. I had a lot of issues with that within the last couple of years. I really changed everything to where my approach now is it's pretty much a block right away, so I don't have to worry about it. So I don't have to get involved, because people were like, dude, that's not you. You're not that person. You're getting ugly. The ugly side is not good. Just to block it and move on. I think that's probably the best.
And like Rob said earlier, we went through that.
Yeah.
So it's
yep, exactly.
Figure it out, you grow from it, and you just don't do it no more.
Yep.
And the only time that I'll ever pipe up or say something is if you start bringing someone's kids involved, or the wife or whatever, that I ain't having that.
Right.
They got nothing to do with it.
Right.
There's no reason to take shots at them. It just, then I'll pipe up and say something and I'll nip it. It'll get taken care of quick.
Right. Yep. Gate, Paul, do you have anything that hasn't been said on this stuff, or did we pretty much cover it?
Yeah, I got one thing to add. But first, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring of Airtime. Bring your show back. I enjoyed it. The only time I ever won was his last show. the dude that I like is actually something that Def you do is so is Rob. If I am buying this rookie Andrew Luck Bowman Chrome in this top loader with the penny sleeve on it,
Yes.
I know I'm going to receive it exactly like this, and that's what I like. I don't want to receive it out of the top loader, out of the penny sleeve, other than the way that you presented the card. All right, I've bought from other online YouTube auctioneers who present it one way, but then I get it in a totally different way, and it's just I don't like it. I spent a lot of money with I spent a good amount of money with Def and Rob because I know what I'm buying from you guys. I know that I'm getting a quality card the exact way that it was presented to me, not in a team pack raw with nothing on it, nothing protecting it. And that's the thing is like if you're going to sell something, you're going to deal with the mail. I deal with the mail in my business all the time. I file a damage claim probably 3 times a month for other stuff. Like protect your stuff, protect your stuff. That is what I'm saying, and everybody's already said everything else. And the only other thing I'll add in is when it comes to the do's and don'ts, it's kind of right in the middle. You got to figure out what type of card person you are. If you're the flipper, be that. If you're the collector, be that. And kind of. I don't want to say, don't cross over or anything like that. But do what, figure out what type of card collector you're going to be and not necessarily stick with that. But because if you're trying to do everything in card collecting, flipping, investing, collecting and all that stuff, it could get out of control real quick, and I say that from experience.
Right on. Well, hey, I think that was amazing. You guys all, I think, pretty much covered everything. I got threw in my little 2 cents here and there as people were talking. So I don't think I have to really add anything. I don't think there's anything. I would just say to what Gate City said, Paul, there are times where you may receive something a little different from me in the auctions. It's when they're in the penny sleeve already, and I might top load the card because, hey, I didn't either have top load cards or they were my quarter starting piles. And the card we sold for $2 or $3 or $5, whatever. I mean, I'm usually going to try to put it in top loader if I can. You may have received some cards just in penny sleeves if they were shown in penny sleeves, or if I just added them,
right?
Or any real parallel or rookie or like Aaron Rodgers base cards, or people probably think I'm taking shots. They say Aaron Rodgers because Packers, but just in general, right? Kenny Golladay non-parallels. Anything that's not a parallel, not a rookie, not a high rookie value, that's got a lot of money involved in it. It may be in a penny sleeve.
I'm just saying this. I once bought a card that was in a top loader and a penny sleeve from a YouTube auction, and I got it in an envelope and nothing. Not from either one of you two guys, but I mean that really just kind of tweaked me the wrong way. It was just a raw card in an envelope with the stamp on it, mailed to me. No protection, no nothing. You know what I mean? And I was thoroughly upset. And nothing happened to the card, but the potential was there. And I just,
All right.
That was Jeff's mystery box last week. Rubber banded together and fired in a bubble mailer.
And then the letter.
Mystery bag.
The letter, the handwriting was literally from a 5-6-year-old. You could tell kid thanks, his mom's account or something, let him do an eBay thing and trying to make money. Again, he's trying to do the same thing we're doing, right? Sell stuff to get back into it. He just he took a little turn and he kind of went and probably ran into a ditch somewhere or something because I don't know that anyone's coming back. He might work one time on me. That's it. I'm not going back to you if something like that were to happen. We got a lot of people in and out joining. Pittsburgh's in the building. He says Gate City Picker is a wealth of knowledge. He absolutely is. All these guys are a wealth of knowledge. All these guys bring some great stuff, some great knowledge, some great advice.
Hey, Jeff.
I
want to add something real quick. A couple months ago, I got some stuff off of eBay. It was those mystery lots. You pay $20 or whatever. You have so many hits in it and rookie cards. When I got this package, there was 2 bricks. They were penny sleeves. Some were top loaded, some weren't. but they were in those vacuum sealed bags. They vacuum sealed the bag like so much that it bent the corners on the cards. And I emailed the guy. I said, yo, what's up with this? He goes, oh, that's how I ship everything. Nothing should have been damaged. I'm like, dude, I took pictures and I sent it to him. Like, you know, I'm not going to fight over $20. I'll eat the $20 because it's not worth it. Because by the time I get done with eBay and everything, it's just not worth it. I just told him, I said, next time, I said, don't vacuum seal your cards. Just put them how you had it. You don't have to vacuum. I mean, look, I'm like, legit, there was measuring measuring ounces and stuff on these bags. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I mean, it was completely vacuum sealed, you know, and it was terrible. It was terrible. There might have been like 2 top loaders in there and the rest were penny sleeves. So it was like smushed. I'll have to send you the picture then. And you won't, your eyes won't believe it once you see it. It's crazy.
Crazy, man. That's crazy. All right. So I'm going to start with Alpha, actually. We're going to go back to you. We're going to start here and get you guys on there. All right. So here's, as you guys start Alpha Fan Breaks, right? You and the boys start Alpha Fan Breaks. So this is perfect. This is for a guy who's been around the hobby for a long time. He's seen a lot of things done. He's done, you know, he does his $5 pulse thing he did for a while. I mean, he's ran different card things. He decides now that he wants to take the turn. He really wants to focus on breaking and do it as a family thing with his kids. So tell us, your advice to others, maybe somebody who wants to start breaking eventually, right? That's out there, that's watching or watches this later. What are some things that you would be telling this person or telling the audience if they want to start breaking? How do you grow your community? How do you grow your clientele? How do you grow your customers?
Well, first things, starting breaking could be easy, but it also can be very difficult. You can go break on Instagram, you know what I mean? Don't have to worry about taxes or anything because there's a lot of breakers on there. There's a ton of kids on there that are breaking retail product left and right. But if you want to be legit, it's not an easy process, okay? There's a lot of paperwork involved. You know, we filled out a bunch of paperwork with the lawyer. We turned our company into an LLC. We have, you know, you have to get a federal tax ID, a state tax ID, a business license, zoning for, since we are actually operating right off of my house, you have to get a zoning permit, you know. So it's not as easy as people think it is. You can't just go out to the store. I mean, you probably could, you know, but to be straight and legal about it, you want to do it the right way. Because if you get caught, there's heavy fines and stuff. So make sure the first thing is write everything down on paper and make sure you know that you really want to do this. When we sat down and we discussed this, because I haven't been at work since March 19th, okay? That's when my company kind of closed because of the whole pandemic. And me and Brett were sitting around. He just graduated high school. College wasn't in the foreseeable future because of colleges shutting down. You know, it's, you know, so he wasn't going to do that. And he was thinking about getting a job. And unfortunately, the job market right now is scarce because places are closing. You know, they're offering hours, but they're only offering you like 20, 25 hours a week. So they don't have to pay, you know, health insurance, you know, overtime or any type of holiday pay. So yeah, there's jobs hiring, but it's for peanuts. You know what I mean? So like it drives me nuts. But so we sat down and we thought about it. We wrote everything down. My girl works for a large law firm here in Pennsylvania, and they wrote up all the paperwork. And me and Brett sat down and I discussed them. And I said, listen, I said, this is not going to be easy. I said, I have a lot of followers on Twitter, you know, that I consider friends, and, you know, it's going to take hard work and dedication, you know, and it does get tough, Def. I tell you that it does get tough. It's not easy. People think it's, oh, you just go live and you rip product. No, you have to buy the product. You have to make sure that, you know, you are buying it for a decent price. And then you have to make the break affordable, because especially right now, a break is not affordable, especially with the products. You know, products are through the roof. So we try to buy products, and yeah, we might not make a lot of money, but in the beginning, whenever you start a business, you're supposed to lose the money. You might make a little bit, but it'll turn around like a year or two. You know, you have to give it time. And that's one of the biggest things that me and Brett discuss. Some of our Fridays are great. Some of our Saturdays are better. You know, it all depends from week to week, but it's not as easy as people think it is. You know, there's a constant demand of every week. Me and Brett have our Monday meetings, and we were like, okay, what are we adding to the site this week? You know, we are constantly going out and looking for products, and we're trying to get products that interest people. You know, I just don't want to go out and buy a product because I like it, because it's not me. I'm not the one buying it, you know. So so we get feedback from people that come into our channel on Fridays and Saturday nights. We do a lot of promoting. That's one of the biggest things. Def, I know me and you talked about it the most. Promote. Because if you don't promote and you just drag your feet at it, you know, you're not going to get anywhere, you know. And one of our biggest things is we're not trying to compete with any breaker whatsoever. We're just trying to bring a better hobby experience, meaning, you know, having things cheaper, because I've been on both sides of the table where I'm spending thousands of dollars a month on breaks.
Right.
And I'm like, for what?
Right.
Like, why did I do that? Like, and I feel so bad at times, but then, you know, I turn around and I look at it and I'm thinking about you guys when I'm creating breaks. Like me and my son, we're thinking about, you know, you guys as customers that are purchasing the product. Like, would we want to spend $75 on a break? No. What do you want to spend? 25, 30, 40? So that's where we try to keep our price margins. I understand that some of the products are higher end, that we can't keep it at that price. But if we could figure out a way to do it, we can. So there's always, if there's a will, there's a way. You know, that's how it always is. You know, so it's not easy. It's not easy starting because, you know, our taxes are coming up soon. And this is going to be, you know, the first year for owning a business and paying the taxes. And, you know, we have to make sure our books are in check. My girl does our books. You know, everything's got to be, you know, clear and cut. Because if you don't have anything clear and cut, man, we could be in some major trouble, I'll tell you that. So it's not, I mean, like I said, if you have the drive and you have the will, you can do it, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. You're not going to be a sensational #1 hit overnight, you know. Unless you're sitting here with, you know, a table full of like 27 boxes of 2020 Prism football that go for $1,500, and you're selling a team for $10 each, you know. That's the only way you're going to become popular, you know.
And I think, too, great points, Dent. I think one thing, too, you know, the breaking of the cards is really, because I did that like 3 years ago. I was a breaker for a while. I went through that whole thing. And I found out real quick, especially as only having one person, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. I had my son sorting stuff Saturday nights after breaks, and then I'd be packaging everything up, doing it myself. The breaking is the easiest, funnest part of being a breaker, period. You know, you said buying product, finding cheap product. That's the start of it. Filling it, marketing it, breaking it. Oh, now we broke it. Now we have to sort it. And if you're somebody like me, someone like Alpha, anybody who ships every card or shipped every card, didn't just ship hits. Some product, you're ripping Heritage, you're ripping Tops, any Tops product, you're going to have a stack of cards you got to sort out by divisions, by teams. And then you got to package it all. And then after you package it all, guess what? You got to set it up to be shipped out. You got to print labels, and you got to do all that, or take it to the post office and stand in line for 2 hours and wait for them to go through a million things if you didn't use pirate chip or something, which back then I wasn't smart enough to even think of. So that's another thing, guys. If you guys are doing breaks and breakers and you're not using a ship software like Pirate Ship that's saving people's info where you can just start typing their name and it pops up, and get your kitchen scale, get your digital at Walmart, get your digital counting scale. Yeah, no, I'm not selling drugs. Don't. But there's a lot to it. Hey, look at Lenny makes an appearance on the Hobby Central. Lenny's in the house. What up, Lenny? People are asking about Lenny. Lenny.
Yeah, there's been a few in there.
Show up. Awesome, man.
Lenny's a vintage collector too.
There you go, Rob. I'm going to turn it over to you as you, you know, you've went through the growth thing. You've went through being an auction guy. You know, you're slowly starting to try to get into the breaking thing, but auctions are your thing. You do it every Monday night. So he'll be live tomorrow night. So guys, make sure you check him out unless something changes. But how did you grow? What steps did you personally take to grow, to go from 5 or 10 people in your auctions to 30, 40, sometimes 50 people in your auctions?
Repetition and a lot of consistency. Being there every single week when people expect you to be there every week. That, and we started sending extra cards, call them bonus cards. So we'll send you extra stuff for your PC every time you buy something from us. Just something we like to do to help people grow their PC, plus a little extra bonus. A lot of it was just a lot of time on YouTube and getting to know people. And you know, it's hard. Like, I don't remember who said this just a minute ago, but it's hard to keep up with every single person doing an auction, doing a break. And, you know, I try to get around and get in everybody's. It's just hard. And so, you know, hopefully, you know, I know that people, if they have time to stop by, you know, when we're live, that's awesome. But if not, I understand. And I hope everybody's the same way, because, man, is it hard to keep up with everybody. But as far as growing, and we were part of that group, Deafness, and a few of the other guys, when Blood was out there, you know, helping everybody grow their channels for YouTube. And I know that's where we got a lot of people that didn't know who we were, that were into cards. So our YouTube growth, you know, was because of that, from Blood and from you, Deafness. But as far as the growth thing, man, I think it's just, like I said, consistency, you know, taking care of people, not expecting, you know, the top dollar price for your cards. I modeled ours after yours, Deafness. Everything starts at $1 pretty much, you know, and see where it goes. And then, you know, price things to move them, as the great Deafness says. Right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not in this to make money, by all means. Like all the everybody else in the stream, you know, you sell enough to buy more, you know, and hopefully you can find a deal for everybody once in a while to pass it along. So.
Right on. All right. Well, Quados ran quick. Paul, Gate City, anything that they didn't touch on, anything that you use and your, like, for your clientele, for your customer growth, for your community, whether it doesn't even have to be on the hobby side. It could be on the resell flipping side of everything else you do, because that can tie in with the hobby. I mean, utilizing certain techniques, principles, ideas, whatever it might be, can all be helpful, even if it's
right. The main thing, especially on the resale side, we live in a society where now people buy everything at the touch of their finger, and they want it yesterday. What I like mainly about a lot of the guys that I buy from, you know, on YouTube auctions and things like that, is that I know that it's going to get to me within a reasonable amount of time. So, I mean, the main thing is this is like, especially if you're going to get into, you know, whether you're breaking, you know, auctioning, whatever it is, I mean, get the product to your customer as quick as possible, because, you know, when they want it type thing. One of the reasons I like buying from Rob is Rob will hold on to it and I'll forget I bought it. And by the time I get it, I'll remember. It's like buying it over again. Right. So, I mean, that's one of the cool things, you know, shipping in the reselling business. Shipping is the hardest thing to figure out. It is. I mean, because it's easy to price a product and post it on whatever selling platform you're going to put it on. That's the easy part. Once somebody buys it and you have to get it to them, that's when there's a lot of work involved. It's, you know, the same thing that like Def, you talked about, you know, it's non-negotiable. If you don't send the product to the person who bought it, they're going to be pissed off, you know, and if you don't get it to them within a reasonable amount of time, they're still going to kind of be a little upset too. So, I mean, it's get it to them as quickly and as economically as possible. You know, and that's one of the reasons I like buying from both of you, because it's a flat rate. This is what it is. And then above that is, you know, whatever you buy, we'll put into the thing. You know, my main thing is this, and I've already talked about it, is if you're going to ship something, I mean, one, ship it on time, and two, protect it. Make sure it gets to the customer in a solid, you know, in a solid manner, exactly how they bought it from you. You know, because there's nothing worse. On the reselling side, if you check out some of my content, it's you know, customer. If somebody sends me, hey, this came to me broke, okay, what can I do to fix this? You know, do you want to send it back? Do you want to be refunded? Sometimes I'll just refund them because, like, I think Quados said it, or no, excuse me, Dent might have said it. You know, $20 is not worth the fight. You know, it's like, oh, here's your money back. Be a happy customer, and let's move on with our life. Because, you know, I don't need, my life ain't worth fighting over $20 for. You know what I'm saying? So, right. You know, that's the thing. Is you know, get the product to the guy, to your buyer as quickly as possible, and make sure it gets there safely.
And at the end too, Paul and Dent, you know, as he was the one that brought that up. You know, on a business standpoint, especially if you are registered as a business, you know, you are doing the taxes and all that on there. You can put that under your losses as well.
Correct. Yep.
So you got to take that in consideration too. Like you say, Paul, it's not worth the headache. It's not worth it. It's better off to keep that community member, that customer, whatever you may look at them or see them as, and keep them happy, and just take the ding. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's $20 out of your pocket right now, or whatever the cost is, but you can put it into your losses, you know, as business write-off. So
right, and I think what something that it took me a while to figure out on the reselling side. Yeah, this Andrew Luck, it might be worth however much money it is, but I may have paid a nickel for it, so I'm only out a nickel. You know, type thing. And I think a lot of people kind of look at it that differently. You know, Yep.
I'll give you a nickel for it.
But, you know, but that's what I'm saying is, like, you know, I might have sold that product to somebody, but, you know, what am I really into it with? A little bit of time, and I might, you know, because I bought it at a yard sale or something like that. I might have paid $2 for it. All right. And I'm going to eat the shipping on it, which might have been, you know, $7. So I'm really, you know, if I sold it for 20, but I'm really into it for like 5 to 8, so you know what, I'm losing $10. So what?
Right.
You know,
right? Yep, I agree. Quados, you got anything to add on this particular topic that you haven't heard, as far as you know, how your own approach, how you grow the community when you were doing auctions, and you're going to probably plan to get back into them? Your approaches, was there anything that any of them said or didn't say that you want to add?
No, not really. I mean, it got covered good. I guess the only one little thing there, like Rob said, you know, I don't even know how I got going. Well, it's because we're in a group and we're spreading it out too. You know, every time you have your auction, Jeff, I'm on Twitter sharing it out. Several guys are on Twitter sharing it out, and you'll see that in the stream, the influx. You'll go to 17 people to 50 to 30 to 40 to,
yeah.
And it's the same thing. You know, when I was doing mine, it's just word of mouth, and with the community being like it is, you know, it's everybody's tied to somebody,
right?
Like the 6 degrees of separation, and you screw over one person and you're done.
Oh, yeah,
it'll travel. I mean, I've seen that on Twitter a ton lately. Yeah. If you're following this guy, block him. Here's what he did to me. Me, I like to maybe message the guy. I'll follow him so I can message him and say, hey, what happened, dude?
Right.
And sometimes I don't. If I don't know who it is, then I'm out right away. But if I know who it is, I'll try to communicate with them, see what happened, and then, you know, make my own decision, because, you know, things that have happened in the past, that got blown out of the water right away. And so I try to figure it out. But
we got this thing, telephone, telegram, telefirefighter, and the same goes for this community, man. If something bad happens, or you say something stupid, or you put something in print, God forbid, man, does that make it around fast. And for all the work you do to try to, you know, show the people you're a good person, and, you know, you're honest, and you care about people, it takes one time. One time, and they do not forget, you know.
Yep. And I mean, we're not going to bring it up or talk about it, but Rob, we just had a situation not too long ago where a good member that is in my auctions quite often, had been in one of yours a while back, and then he had showed back up. Remember the whole messaging thing? And people get, if something's not right at presentation, they feel is not correct or whatever. And sometimes people are going to be a little more anal than they should be. But at the end of the day, your reputation is huge. I mean, that's really, especially if you're trying to be somebody who wants to sell cards here and there to somebody else, or wants to sell cards to recoup the money like we've been talking about tonight. Just make sure you're doing everything the right way. And I think Quados speaks on it right. Like sometimes somebody's saying, "Oh, block this person because so and so." I think Quados, and I think he even would probably be doing this as well. Message them out, see what's going on. The person, everybody's staying a block. What's going on? See if you can get another side of the story. Maybe even see if it's something that could get worked out, because maybe it's something that both sides are just being really silly and stupid about. Maybe it's not. I mean, maybe it's something
There's always two sides.
Yes, maybe it's sometimes it just has to just go its way and leave it that way.
And I a lot of times in a story, it's perspective too. There's the buyer's perspective, the seller's perspective, and somewhere in the middle is what actually happened.
Yes, Quados.
And I think too that if something does happen, people love drama.
You're right.
I think if something does happen, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that I could say, "Hey, Jeff, dude, you forgot one of my cards, or this one got wrinkled. Is that what, maybe I didn't," because that's happened to me a couple times.
Yeah.
I bought some vintage cards, and it's hard to tell, especially with vintage. It's hard to tell. Not only am I dealing with, is it a fake? And I got to do a lot of homework on that to make sure it's even real.
Right.
But now if a guy shows you a card and then you get it and it's got 3 creases through it, and then I've gone back to look at the video saying there's no creases in this card, and then I'll call them or I'll text them or email them or whatever, message them and say, "Hey, dude." But there's no doubt that any of us here right now, if that happened, I'd be like, "Holy cow, let me see if I can find another one. I'll find you another one, or I'll get you something else and make it right."
Yeah.
Because again, we're not going to squabble, especially not squabbling over $20. We're not going to squabble over $2.
Right. Exactly.
And if you remember my, I took down the video and stuff because I put my big boy pants on and got over it. But I remember back when I was pretty fired up, and I actually sent my whole football collection back to this guy that was whining about something, and I'm like, "Here, you can have it all. I don't need it no more. You can have it. There, hopefully it's better."
Right.
And I don't know that it solved the problem, but it made me feel better.
Yeah.
Now I'm not the one that hosed anybody. I'm the one that got hosed when I did nothing in the first place.
Right.
So whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Again, it comes down to cardboard and trying to keep face.
Yep. Let's do one more here from you guys, and then we'll wrap it up. We've already been almost an hour and 15 minutes, guys. It's been an amazing show. I suppose with having 5 total, 4 guests plus me, really time flies by. But here's what I want.
Thanks to everybody in chat too. We've had over 30 watching for the last at least half hour. So
you're up to 40 at one point, I think. I mean, it's been awesome. The first show got a lot of feedback. We 100 and almost 70 views. This will continue to grow, and this is going to be somewhere where I hope everybody comes back every Sunday night. I hope some of you that are in the chat that are chatting join, because this is for anybody to join, right? It's good to get a mix of people. It's good to get different perspectives. Topics are going to change within the hobby and everything else. I want to end this with what is if you could change one thing in the hobby, what would that be? And let's start with Alpha. Let's start with Dent, the boys.
If there was one thing I could change in the hobby currently right now, would be prices. Prices are the main thing in the hobby. Either we're talking about all the way down to even supplies. Supplies have gone up. It's hard to find, top loaders now for $1.50, because now they're like $2-3, for a 25 pack. I remember I used to go get them for like 75 cents to $1 for a 25 pack. Not no more. Hobby boxes are ridiculous. No matter what it is, it could even be retail. You see retail all over Twitter, all over Instagram, all over Facebook. A $20 blaster is going for like $170. It's like, what?
Right.
Like, what is going on here? So that would be the biggest thing, I think, would be prices. Change the prices. Cards are always going to go up and down. You know, I just don't understand why the necessary need for hobby boxes to be at the phenomenal prices that they are, because it gives really no one a chance to purchase any unless you're going to break the bank. Now, unless you're like Leighton Sports Cards that goes out and buys cases of that stuff, because he can do that. But like me, you, RSR, you know, Paul, you know, Quados, we're not going to go out and spend $1,700 on one box of cards, right? That has like 10 cards in it. I'm not going to spend $1,700 on it. There's no way. There's no way. So,
not when you can get a Ty Cobb for that.
Right.
You can have them.
Yeah. So I mean, even that's where I'm at, and like, and that's one of the biggest things that I like about that we break cards and memorabilia. Memorabilia has not gone up, thank God. So it's stayed even. So that's what I need. That's what needs to be changed, really.
Yeah,
if we could change it, that would be great.
Before we go on, John C. has a good comment here in the chat. He said, but we all have said our PC has grown because of prices. And I think what he means by that is we've expanded our PC, or who we PC and what we look to PC. So we've approached it. Maybe most of us have approached our collecting or our PC at a different angle. I mean, look at it this way. This is a perfect example. Would be Quados, right? Quados, he even said it earlier in the show. Due to pricing and how ridiculous everything is and whatnot, he would rather go get the proven guys. He would rather collect the vintage, the guys that have already done the work, the guys that he already knows. You know, it's not relying on how they perform tomorrow or the next week or this season or the rest of their career. They've already built it. So I think John C. has a good point there. But yes, I agree. I mean, I agree. The prices are crazy. The prices are ridiculous. To buy a blaster for $200 or whatever is just absolutely silly. For $80 or whatever, it depends on what it is. Rob, where are you at, man? If you could change one thing, and don't say prices. Each of you guys got to say something that's not prices. He got on this one. He got the first shot.
You got the softball.
Yeah. I would say not so much the prices, but with how much they charge you. Okay. How about that? No. Yeah, I think, of course, you know, prices was on my mind also, Dent. But the thing that bums me out now is seeing the kids wanting to grab that $20 blaster box, or, you know, $3 or $4 gravity feed pack. And they just, you can't get it anymore retail, really, unless you get lucky. So I know it's this card collecting has become more of a grown man's game than a kid's game, because we're all, you know, buying it all up. So
and we can afford it, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how that would change to get, you know, I know there's a lot of programs that some people do for kids and get them cards, but that just is a bummer for me when I know that kids can't go out there and just go to Target or Walmart and grab a thing of baseball cards if they want to anymore. So, right. And I don't know what the answer is on that. So,
right. All right. Let's go Quados.
I think, I mean, as genius as it is, I think the part of the problem is from the manufacturers. I call out Topps all the time on Twitter, which, you know, not that it's going to make a difference, but
right.
Makes me feel better. You know, they've created these other products like Big League and Opening Day for the kids, because it's just like the video games. You know, you can watch on ESPN now, and these dudes are playing, you know, Madden NFL, and they're getting $1 million for first prize. And now your gaming systems are $700 a piece. And my kids have been asking me for one, and we don't have one. Right. Because I'm not going to spend that on that. And then the games are $100 a piece if you can find them. It's turned into a 40-something hobby. And then I blame the manufacturers, because now you've created these other products for the kids that are $1 a pack or $2 a pack. And then they put in a short print. You know, Opening Day puts in a Louis Robert short print So now these $1 gravity boxes are getting literally, I've seen them get ripped off the shelves, off the pegboard, like they're looting the place.
Right.
So now the kid can't even get a $1 pack because there's a $200 short print, or it's selling on eBay for $200, and it's so they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, but they're smart marketing because who's got more money, a 45-year-old guy or a 12-year-old kid?
Here's the crazy thing, though, touching on that is that, you know, and other people have brought this up. I think Eloy's brought this up too. You know, and I know it's up north Lance, because they do reselling boxes. They usually buy a case of something when they get allocated it, and then they let it sit for like a year, Contenders or whatever, and then people go back and they resell it, and they resell for $1,000 or more, but they always sell it under what everybody else is selling it for to make money. But, you know, he brings up the good points that, you know, the manufacturers themselves, they make the product, right? The price that they sell it to your Steel City Collectibles, your Leighton Sports Cards, your Descartes Worlds, your all those companies that are like the ones that'll be reselling it or distributing it out to us or the breakers or whoever that are smaller, they're getting that product. Like Prism, I think they're getting for like $150 is like, and that's, they don't change that price. So just because it's selling at $1,000 to us a box from Steel City, whatever, we're as a consumer, we're driving that market price up to whatever we'll pay for it, right? Because demand and everything else. But Topps and Panini and all them, they're still not selling it for any different than what they were selling it to Steel City and everybody else. So when we want to harp on people about the pricing thing, it's got to be the breakers, it's got to be these companies that are reselling it and repricing it, but it's also got to be us as the consumers, because enough people out there are paying it and they continue to boost the price up, right? Like, so here's an example, right, guys? So here's an example. Like Justin Herbert now, right? So can you imagine if Justin Jefferson and Justin Herbert and them weren't having great years, and Joe Burrow was the only guy having a good year, and now he got hurt? You would see where the prices, they would be way down, right? Because the prices go up as these guys, whatever product year goes up. Justin Herbert, Jefferson, there's a lot of good rookies still. So they're going to continue to climb or stay high, even though Burrow's out, because a lot of people still think Burrow can come back. He's young enough. He's got the drive. But, yeah, we still have all those rookies, and people are still buying it and paying it. But I agree, man. I 100% agree.
And I wish we could.
What's sad is that
we could just stop buying for a while. I mean, if everybody, if you could get together, I mean, I've done it already, but I'm only one person.
Right.
If you could get the whole hobby to just stop buying for 1 month,
right,
then things will come back in check, because I don't feel bad for me. I don't feel bad for any of us. Like I said, we have jobs, we have money, we can go buy the stuff. I feel bad for the kids, and there's nobody. I actually had an incident. I told you about this, Jeff, at the card show one day, where the Bowman came out, and there was a dude with a cart there, like taking it right out of the stock boy's hands.
Right.
And I'm standing there with me, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, can I have a couple of those?" And he's like, "No, I was here first." I'm like, "All right, well then I'm taking them from you." I asked nice, and you're not going away with all of them. And then there's a guy right next to me with his 8-year-old boy, so I got them some too.
Right.
Like, you're not doing this. It's not happening. And now, to the stores like our Targets and our Walmarts, I tweeted this the other day. Now there's a limit. It's 1 pack of each thing, but you can have 1 pack of update, and if that's a gravity pack, that's all you get. You don't get to grab a blaster, a hanger, a gravity pack, and because that's considered 5 things, even though it's 1 update. So now there's a lot of product there, but you only get 1. So now you get to tell your 8-year-old boy or your 12-year-old boy, you can have 1. Well, that sucks too. You don't need to have 100 of them, but it is nice. I mean, how many people buy 1 thing? You want to rip open some packs, try to get something.
Right.
And when you're limited to 1, so now, even though I got my wish, because I would complain to management.
Right.
Because like I said, I haven't seen a pack of cards in 7 months.
I know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Gate, what's one thing that hasn't been said? This is tough for you. It's been going.
Yeah, it's tough for me. The only thing I'll say is because I'm kind of been getting a little more interested in it now it's just kind of like grading. It's really hard. I mean, there's the 3 top companies for the grader for grading, but like I just wish it, one, of course, it wasn't as expensive as it was, and 2, I wish there was like a grade of graders, because it's kind of hard, like, because to figure out, okay, what grading services should I use?
Right.
But again, that's just pulling something out of the air because everybody said good stuff already. It's just I wish grading and there's more lack of knowledge on my end of I kind of just wish grading was a little more easier to understand. Like, why does it get a 10 versus a 9? Blah blah blah. I mean, I know like centering and all that stuff, but there's all kinds of other criteria based on the company you go to. So I wish that was a little more transparent.
Right.
And Gate, I'll touch on that quick that you said that with grading, because now with the prices, so when you grade, I just started doing this with some other guys around Minnesota with some of my tobacco cards, and that grading price is a set. Say it used to be $10 a card because we get in with a bulk group, but if you go into a shop, it's going to be 20, 25.
Right.
Well, $100 for 4 cards. But now with the prices being driven up, like SGC just raised their prices $5 a card, so it's $15 now minimum. But then when you grade your card, it's also the value of that card.
Yeah, and I don't understand why. What's the difference?
If you do have a banger, because they're going to make more money by grading your card a little higher. Because I've got some cards that I don't know how this thing is a 1 and this one's a 3. The 1 is way nicer than the 3. Mm-hmm. So I don't get it either. But your prices are driven up because of the way that the prices are. So now I went in trying to grade some cards, and I'm thinking, all right, it's going to be $70 for my 7 tobacco cards. And now the guy's telling me I owe $150, and I'm like, holy shit. How come? He's like, well, this one's more valuable than that one, and then you got shipping, and that. So now the prices keep driving up, even the graded card prices.
Right.
And now, since it's such a big hot thing, they're jumping on board too. Hey, everybody else is making money. We're going to raise our prices $5 a slab.
I didn't even hear about that. That's ridiculous.
I just got told that 2 days ago because I got a bunch of cards at SGC.
That's ridiculous.
To touch on what you were talking about, we had a bunch sent in for submissions, and since the whole pandemic, PSA changed a bunch of things. Like now, anything over 2017 and up is more than anything under 2017. And it's like, wait a minute, what? So you're trying to tell me, Tom Brady card, or whatever like that, is going to cost less to grade than a Zion rookie card. Like, you got to be kidding me. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about like a Zion rookie card that you might get like in a holiday blaster that's probably not even worth it might be worth like $25 right now. But that's going to cost me more to grade that than the Tom Brady. I think that's crazy. So, Gate City, when you were commenting on that, you definitely hit the nail on the head with that. Like, what does it matter what the card value is when they grade it?
Like, because I mean, they grade the card. They use the same criteria.
Yeah,
just because something grades for $1,500 versus $12.
Because they gotta make money off of you're gonna make money if you sell it. Yeah,
but they're already making a ton of money already to grade it.
I know. Yeah. But it's how it goes.
That's what I'm saying. Is like if one of these lesser known grading companies said it's $10 to grade no matter this card. They right now, because of the way that the grading services have been screwing people over, I bet you that grading service would shoot through the roof. It's $10 no matter what you send in, no matter how many you send in or something like that. If one of those like kind of mid-tier grading companies did something like that, they'd shoot up through the roof, and I think more people would go to them.
So yeah, that's a good point. And Zach says in here, I have a card I want to grade but don't know how to go about it. Well, the first thing, Zach, you need to figure out is what grading company you want to grade it through. SGA, PSA, Beckett, BGS. Those are your main ones out there. And once you do that, like if you want to do PSA or something like that, I know you're pretty close with like BITG. You could probably just contact him direct. I'm sure he'd be able to. You'd send it to him. He would check it all over. He would send it in for you and then ship it to you. When I actually go out there, I'm bringing a bunch of cards, my PC cards, some of my stuff that I want to get graded. I'm going to be bringing it there, and just so it's with me when I bring it. It'll be in my backpack on the plane with me, and then I'm going to send off a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to actually do my first grading submission. Pretty excited. Whenever it comes back, Probably in 2 years, you'll get to see the PSA deal. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. When it happens. So, guys, I don't want to take up any more of your guys' Sunday night. The Packer Bear game is going to be starting soon.
Yeah, it's been fun.
People going live. You guys have shared way more than enough of your time, way more than I could ask for. The show is usually an hour, but it was such a great show. You guys had a lot of good information to share. I think people are really digging this. So this is going to continue. And again, any of you out there that want to be a part of it can be. It doesn't take any certain criteria or resume or anything special. This is to get you guys to put faces to names, match things up, let people get your opinions on topics and whatnot. So I'm going to do a couple things. Once this video's uploaded, it'll take a little while because it's long. I will have each one of their social medias down below in the description. So you can find them on Twitter, YouTube, wherever they might be, their website if they have it as well. I advise you guys to check them out. I advise you guys to check out everybody, check out their content, check out their breaks, check out whatever they're doing. I approve them. I hang out with them. I get into their breaks. I'm not saying that maybe if someone doesn't really know me that's watching this, I get it. You may not be, well, who the hell cares what you say? But I'm just saying within this community, I approve them. So hopefully you guys will take it upon you to check their auctions out, check out their websites, get into their check out their
Deafness.
Yeah.
And thanks from all of us to you.
Absolutely.
For keeping the love alive and bringing us together with things like this, man. You're a real leader in the community. So thanks for all you do, buddy.
And just kind of tag on to that, like the way that you personally welcomed me in the first time I showed up to your show was one of the reasons why I stuck with it. You know what I mean? You immediately said, "Hey, welcome. What's your real name?" rather than your YouTube name or something like that. And then I made my first purchase. You're like, "Hey, and I didn't feel as like, hey, just send me this, and then you're good for the rest of the night." You weren't like real pushy about it. Right. And then and all of a sudden one day I looked up and I had a blue wrench. So, This is one of those things, and I don't know what I did or what I said, but like, I mean, I've seen guys that have been in your chats that don't have wrenches that been in your chats longer than me. And I don't know how that happened, but I don't, I'm sure I did or said something right, but whatever. Yeah. But it brought me, kind of kept me, coming into the community a little bit more rather than just kind of dipping my toe in. And I appreciate what you did.
It gave you a little bit of ownership.
Correct. There it is.
That's what it is, man. Gotta move you up. Gotta move you up the ladder. I need some of them peoples. Guys, again, thank you all for being on tonight. Again, their information will be below. We're also going to be doing something cool. So I told you guys just about every video that's put up on at least my channel. I'm going to be doing some things. We're going to have a free break during the 24-hour stream on December 12th. Leave a comment below when this thing gets uploaded. Not comments in the chat right now. Leave a comment below this video when this is uploaded. Give it a like as well if you haven't already. Just anything you liked about the show, anything that maybe you took in as information that you thought was great, or a piece of advice that one of these guys said, whatever it might be. It doesn't really matter how much you hate me. It doesn't matter. A comment. If you put a comment down below after it's uploaded, I'm going to do two things. There's going to be two giveaways. Probably for sure one spot during the free break during the 24-hour stream, maybe two spots. I'm also going to do, I didn't get a repack ready before we went live because I was eating dinner and stuff. I was crammed, rushed getting this set up with them. I will do a repack as well. That will be Tuesday night. I'll do it the beginning of the auction, and then we'll have separate ones for during the auction. We'll probably do 2 repacks during the auction as well. So there's probably going to be a total of 3 repacks, more than likely, during the auction, the def repacks given away. One will be somebody that comments when this is uploaded. And then there'll also be a couple, at least one, maybe 2 free break spots given away as well. So, guys, again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Does anybody have any final things they need to say, they want to say while they're on here before we kill it?
Jeff, actually, we got something to say.
Yeah.
Starting December 1st, we're going to be doing a huge announcement on Twitter. It's going to run until the 15th. We here at Alpha Fan Breaks are going to be blessing a couple families this holiday season. Mainly, we're going to focus on children. So we're going to send out a tweet for people to either DM us or email us, people that they think that should be deserving this holiday season that are in need of Christmas presents for their kids. We know it's a very hard, tough time for some people. So be on the lookout. December 1st, we're going to drop that tweet. You guys can reach out to us via DM or email at alphafanbreakers@gmail.com if you want to nominate a family. We don't need to contact them. We just need the shipping information. Then on December 15th, we're going to select a couple families. We're just going to send out the gifts. We're not even going to notify them. And it's going to kind of be like a Secret Santa thing. It's going to be completely unexpected. I am going to notify whoever nominated the family that we did ship so they can just kind of keep an eye out for them. But we're not going to contact the family at all. So that's something that we're going to do at Alpha Fan Breaks.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Awesome. Great
and
stuff.
I think right there, what Dent just said is kind of a reflection of the type of people that we try to associate ourselves with, that we try to keep around in circles, and we try to keep within people that want to give, people that want to do things, man. Quados does a ton of giving. Rob, I know you done tons of stuff. Paul, I know you're a guy that does stuff like that. I know guys, any of us would jump into racks, and sometimes it doesn't have to be anybody we know. But taking it to another step, like, that's awesome. I'm also going to be working on something. I brought it up as well. I'm going to work on helping out a couple families as well. I've kind of told you guys that the auction's going forth through December up to like the last week before Christmas. I'm not going to be doing any gifts per se. I'm going to be blessing certain individual families that are in need of some direct, basically money, PayPal, however they need to get their money, so that they can go get gifts for their kids, that they can supply the family with a hot meal so they're not out. So we're all, I mean, and I think I would love to see more people jump on board, whether you want to help send money to Dent, towards gifts and help them even a little bit, whether you want to do it to Quados if he's got something going on, Rob, me, if you want to start your own thing to help out a family or do something. One of the biggest things that just kills me is money in general, because I hate seeing people struggle. As being somebody who struggled myself for a while and have started over more than once, I hate it, man. It kills me. It tears me up inside. And, I don't know about you guys, but I always sit on Christmas and times like that, and I always sit and I always wonder, and I always think about people who, and Christmas and that is not about gifts, right? Even though it's seen that way, it's more about who you have around you. But at the same time, for young kids, where they see this around them, they see it everywhere else. They go into stores and they're on welfare for whatever reason, or their parents can't afford shit, and they're going in and using their food stamps, whatever it is, and they're seeing all these parents and these kids and these carts full of toys and all that crap. And it kills me, man. Like, to just know that there's a lot of kids out there that are lucky if they're opening one little gift that's maybe from a dollar store or something, and even if they're that lucky. So do what you guys.
While you'll see guys buying $1,000 boxes of cards on eBay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not saying everybody has to do it, but man, if you got it in you, whether it's buy a couple gifts and drop them off at a Walmart in a box or whatever, wherever they're doing the gatherings for whatever, whoever
something through your church.
Yeah, church, whatever it is, man. Because I tell you what, it feels a lot better to give than it is to receive. And if you're somebody that doesn't have that same feeling or that mentality, I would personally challenge you to change your way and see how much different you'll feel about yourself. So
I'm going to throw on there, Jeff, too, that I got my pinned tweet for Christmas for veterans. If you send a care package, you can. I've got the 86 traded set, bow and bonds, and then
great set.
We're going to throw this. I added this 69 Mickey Mantle checklist.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy on Twitter that did a Bo Jackson lot. So that's again, that's just a simple thing. You could send one card in an envelope, and that's considered a care package.
Yeah.
Or if you want to send 100, that's fine too. Whatever.
So awesome.
I'm big into the veterans stuff. I got a lot of vets in my family. I know a lot of vets. There's a lot of vets on Twitter, and a lot of these guys, they don't get nothing. You know, I said that the other night in depth. I had guys that you could legitimately tell that they were tearing up.
Share your Thanksgiving dinner quick story before we get off here.
Oh, we had a friend of ours that's had a boyfriend that came over, and you know, for us, it's been a rough year. I've lost a lot of people, and this friend of ours brought her boyfriend over, and he was talking to his uncle. His dad actually passed away today, and he was having a rough time, and his uncle was coming down to get him. And I said, who's your uncle, dude? He's like, where's he at? He's like, oh, he's running to McDonald's to get some food or something. And I'm like, what? Oh yeah, he's a Desert Storm vet, and he's all messed up. And he is bad. I told him, I said, you tell him to get his ass over here and have Thanksgiving dinner. And he came over, and you could tell that there's some major things going on with chemical, brain injury. And he sat there and he's like, nobody's done this. I mean, we literally had to make him come and have food, have a meal. Right. And I did. I texted you that. I said, something cool just happened. And I didn't really plan on giving out a meal.
Right.
But it worked, and it made me feel good.
Right.
It's awesome. Good job.
And
and we have an open house. We have an open house for Thanksgiving. Some years we have 20 people here. Sometimes we have 6, but like I told Jeff, I said, if you don't have no place to go, dude, we got plenty of food. We always do.
And he said, dude, even if you got your kids and you guys don't have a place to go. I mean, we had places to go, but I would have taken them up if we didn't. But I mean, that's just, again, guys, that's the type of, this is who we are. This is who the community is. We're not paid actors. We're not actors. We're not anything. We're just humans trying to keep things or trying to turn things positive, and I can't just have some heart, man. I guess that's all I can say. So awesome stuff, guys. Anyone else? We're almost at 2 hours. Man, it's been an awesome show, guys.
Nope.
We're like women. We could probably speak for 4. Especially cards.
24-hour stream podcast. That might be the next.
That'd be crazy.
You're right. Yeah, that might be a new thing to do.
You'd get a lot of people and give everybody like a 20-minute limit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you want to do limits, because you probably have a lot of people that want to get on, but I don't know if you would have enough if you were just constantly every 20. That might be close. It's hard to say. And some people are going to come on and they probably wouldn't even use 20 minutes. They probably use like 5 minutes. So they'd be like, oh, I've never been on one of these things. I don't really know what to say. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be here. People get a little, they get that camera shy once it actually hits. So
I want to say something too. This guy in the chat here, Ransom. This MD Ransom, and I hope I don't embarrass you, man. I'm not trying to do that. I shared that the other day too, where I got a private message, and it said that nobody's done this for me before. I sent him a couple cards, whatever, just for Veterans Day. Yeah. And he was the guy that said, I'm keeping your note too. Your note's going in my binder.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And that was cool. I hope I didn't embarrass you there, but if I did, there's no need.
Yeah, he's been saying a lot of great things about you, a lot of positive stuff. You a good man. He's been saying you're the man. He's been saying that's awesome. And see, that's just it, man. That's what I think is the coolest part about this hobby, is like people like Quados can have someone right now in the chat that just thinks so highly of him. And it's not that he's bought his friendship or his follow or his cool. It's just for him being the person he's been, right? We all have them. We all have people that will show up just about any time we go do something, we go live, we go post something on Twitter. It does not matter. Gate, I know you got people within your community, within the reselling, within wherever. You have people that you know when you post something, when you show something, when you go on your podcast, your reseller podcast, there are certain individuals that are going to be there during that stream. They're not going to miss it. They're going to probably cheer you on. They're going to probably tell you you're the man. They're going to probably tell you you're awesome, whatever it might be. And I'm telling you guys, as people who are watching, who's listening, who's chatting, you may say it's corny. Well, I don't know. It might be being corny. That might feel corny. I tell you what, that kind of stuff goes a long way. And I think for most of us, it doesn't give anybody a big head or a balloon head where they take it the wrong way. I think it just gives us more drive to continue to be the people we're supposed to be, which is just us. So awesome, guys. Anything else? We out? Again, I'm going to have everybody's information in the description below. Once the video uploads, I can add it. It might, I don't know when it'll be. If I'm passed out, it might have to be in the morning when I get to it. But I'll add the thumbnail to it, all the good stuff. You guys can go and follow everybody, sub everybody, check out everybody's websites. So, Paul, if you have another YouTube, give me your information, all your links or names to them. And if you have like another website or anything as well, get it to me. I have all 5 Quados. I have RSR, all your guys' stuff. So, all right, guys, that's it. We're going to end it. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching. You as guests were absolutely amazing. I couldn't ask for a better crew. Until next time, guys, we love you. Peace.